Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Clutadon, Country Fan Mail Podcast, Season 5, Episode 16, 17. I can't even remember. Y'all know how I do, but it don't even matter. We in here with another episode where a fan makes a fan. Thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all for all the love. The podcast has been going up recently. Actually, for the whole time, it's been steady growth. I love the growth that I've been having. It's been lovely. And thank y'all for everybody who's been supporting. And as y'all know, I focus a lot on music on when we have the people that come onto the podcast. However, every once in a while, we like to step outside of actual talking to music artists and talk about the people who continue to help. When you look at the word curate, and at one point in time, I used to consider myself a curator of the culture, and I had to kind of bring myself back to be like, I'm beginning to be one. I'm starting to be one. And when, because I actually started to look at the title of people who actually really wear that title, and I look at the impact that they have, and I was like, maybe you should draw yourself back a little bit for a second, because when you look at the word curator of the culture, people who really capture the culture, people who bring the culture together, people who can be from outside or not even outside of the culture, be within the culture, but have a different lens and be able to help you see through their eyes. I think that that's just it's a gift, it's a calling, and I really appreciate having the pleasure of talking to some of the people who are them people in the culture, especially coming from my hometown, my beloved city of Charlotte, North Carolina. So, without further ado, I have you okay over there, baby? I have coming to the stage a very dope person, somebody who I've been introduced to in ways that I'm just now realizing that full circle that it kind of goes all around. But she is I would like to say, a visual artist, and definitely one of those, as I said, curators of the culture, especially in my hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina. Introducing to the stage.
I'm King Carla, the one and only. You can't clone me. Got a lot of haters and a lot of homies, some friends and some phonies.
I like that. I like that already. Thank you for coming on to the stage.
Anytime, bro. Anytime, man.
Already. But yeah, as I was saying, what I'm saying, I don't have too many times where I tap in with people who are outside of actually making music, but still, like I said, curate the culture in such beautiful ways and are just so much influence in it. But before we even did too far into that, I have to ask you, saying, just keep with tradition. What was the first song that you listened to when you woke up this morning?
Oh, you really want to know?
Yep.
Walking, Denzel Curry.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
tell me about that. What was up with that? Like, what was that? Just like the first thing that you played, or was it the first thing that you chose?
it was the first song that came on in the car, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna skip it. Besides, also like this one line in that song I like the most. He said, "Who the fuck says stop the track, bro? Let a real nigga talk." And shit like that just be singing with me. Like it was so passionate. I wouldn't even classify it as aggressive. He was really talking about that whole entire song. He was really talking about his experiences, because I fell in love with the video first because it was so goddamn wild.
Yeah.
But when he just said that line, it's like, yo, I felt that. That sounded like some shit I would say. Like, who the fuck says stop the track, bro? Let a real nigga talk.
I fuck with that though. There be the wrong motherfucker sometimes representing something, trying to say that, things is this way, things is that way. Like, nah, just slide over and let me do what the fuck I gotta
Let me do it. I need what needs to be done. Okay.
do. I feel
Because
that shit.
I operate that way. Like, hey, I heard you, but I have to go. There are things that need to be done, and
All right,
sometimes
so,
those things
no,
might be nothing at all.
no, for sure. And actually, shit, let's go ahead and slide into it. Let's talk about it. So, I mean, so tell me how it has been. What I'm saying, because I don't like to start podcasts in the traditional way. If like, well, tell me about your childhood first. We're gonna jump around how the conversation goes. So, like, tell me how has that been? I'm saying, being because am I classifying you correctly as a visual artist? Is that how you would classify yourself?
Hmm. Yeah.
So how has it been, saying, being in the visual art realm and kind of carving a lane for yourself to stand out?
Um, Patience. It all comes with patience. Uh, I've been an artist my entire life because I don't know what else to do. You know, I didn't want to give up on it. Like it's all I know how to do, and I didn't want to go into corporate. So I got to undergrad, studied art, got that degree. Didn't want to get a job, so I moved to Atlanta, started going to SCAD, got 2 master's degrees, and that's when I decided I wanted to teach, but I didn't really know how to teach. Like I thought you could just make that shit up.
Mm.
Mm-mm. I did get a job briefly as an adjunct professor at an HBCU in Georgia called Fort Valley State University.
You said an adjunct professor. What is that exactly?
That means that you're just a part-time teacher. That's what it really means. You don't get the benefits. You're not on tenure track or anything that comes with professorship. And then I got pregnant and I knew that I didn't know how to raise a kid because I could barely keep myself together. So I came home and became a middle school teacher. And what I realized is that I was spending too much time comparing Charlotte to Atlanta when I needed to pay attention to what Charlotte had going on,
Mm.
right? So I did that and got a teaching license so I could keep my job because everybody knows daycare is expensive and you have to work, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then I began to challenge myself. I decided to quit art so I could focus solely on becoming a better teacher. Like, do I want to return to university? I don't know. But while I'm here, I'm going to quit the absolute thing that I love the most and, figure out how to keep something consistent because I got a kid and kids need to be fed, clothed, housed,
Yeah.
loved. And if you ain't got like no possibility to provide any of those things, it's all downhill, right?
Yeah.
So once I got my teaching license, I was like, okay, I'll go back to art. And I started out like trying to get studio residencies in Charlotte. I was not filling out that paperwork well, and I kept getting rejected. And I got pissed at being rejected. So I submitted the pettiest application, like literally the whole time just talking straight shit. Like, this isn't gonna fucking happen, but I'm gonna keep practicing because I don't know what I'm doing, right? And I still didn't get that residency for a long period of time, but Goodyear Arts gifted me a residency for 1 month in their project studio space. So I told
Mm.
my family, I was like, look, I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna take this month of this free space that these people have given me and I'm going to determine if I'm going to keep making art or if I'm just going to quit and be an art teacher. And after a month, I realized I still wanted to do it. So I moved my stuff from there, came over to Black Market, asked if I could post up in here, and they said yes. I was like, okay, cool. All right, I got somewhere else to go and make stuff. And leading up to the pandemic, Monday through Thursday, I'm a mom and a teacher. That's it. That's it.
Mm.
Friday through Sunday, I better work it out. I better read something. I better make something. I better come up with an idea, collaborate with different people because I I don't want to lose out on this opportunity. It's something I learned from my youth of being absolutely lazy and thinking that people will just give you things if you ask them, right? Well, I still believe that people will give you things if you ask them. What I decided to break was a bad habit of laziness and procrastination and
Mm.
build new studio techniques, like new work ethics, because I wanted to be in the space and then I wanted to support everyone in the space. If even if I couldn't make rent, like,
Yeah.
is my input valuable? Is it what you need in order to produce more and better works of art? You know,
I
boom.
I feel that. I
Yeah.
feel that. Yeah, that's damn. That's making yourself invaluable in more ways than what people can see yourself bringing to the table is just like it is, what I'm saying, it's like if somebody sees you as an artist, but being able to, that's when you add on those other titles, being a curator, being somebody who can actually have a vision to put things together.
Hmm.
And kind of going all the way back to the basics a little bit, because and I'm actually surprised to hear that you say that, because it was something that I was thinking about while researching you that I wanted to bring up. I used to be into art when I was young. I used to be into art, and I used to love drawing. I used to think that I was pretty cool. I used to make little tattoo designs. I used to think I was doing my thing. And I had an art teacher back in like the 7th or 8th grade, and I can't remember what the project was, but it was like something about like it was supposed to be a portrait, and then it was supposed to have some type of like uh still something in the background. I can't remember the exact terms, exactly what it was, but I remember the picture that I drew, and I drew Granddad from the Boondocks, and it was just like a sideways silhouette of him, and it was like one of his famous little pictures where he was making the little faces, and then I had his restaurant, the Itis, if you know the show in the background, and I was just so proud of
Y'all
this
see
picture.
how much more older I am than you.
But
Great when this shit came out, nigga. I am old, bro.
hey, I'm just saying I had to be sure because some people be like, I'll be talking about certain
Bro,
shit. Some
I was
people
in
just be told.
college when that shit came
Oh,
out.
well, shit. There we go. Then, so you knew exactly what I was talking about, and I drew this shit, and it was beautiful. And she failed the fuck out of me, like because I didn't do what she told me to do.
Yes, you did.
And huh?
Yes, you did. How you
I,
chose to
I
interpret it
can't
was your
remember
vision.
exactly I can't remember exactly what it was, like the very specific thing that she was asking us to draw. But whatever I did, I just touched the fucking pen with the paper and I just made my own shit and I
Mm-hmm.
painted some shit and it was beautiful. I mean, you could tell I put hours into it, but she still failed me. And for that reason, I said fuck drawing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I gave up on it. So I just think so. I just wanted to say that to the point of saying like when you would mention being an art teacher, I feel like art is one of those things that especially when it goes to going to school for sometimes people look down on people like it's art, but then it's like do you not understand that art is one of the most valued things in the fucking world, the way that
Mm-hmm.
people depict things, the way that people interpret things, the way that people so I'm gonna shut up and I just want to like if you can tell me what was the first moment that you like touched pen to paper and you were like I think I'm fucking nice at this shit.
I was teeny tiny because Valvoline still had commercials on TV for their product.
What's
And
what's what's Beverly?
bruh, it's moldable.
We'll talk about it offline. We'll talk about it offline.
Or to go in your car. You just pull up, get the oil change. You don't even see them niggas putting that shit in your car. Um,
Oh shit.
I drew the logo for it. I drew a boy and I drew a grill because I mixed up the letters for girl. And that's honestly my earliest memory of being committed to the act of drawing, you know? And I kept doing it along the way. But as I became exposed to more ways of execution, it's like I walked through the same path that everybody walked through naturally. Like you start off with pencil and paper, and you add crayons, you add colored pencils, you add markers, right? And then people say, oh, well, maybe you should paint. So then you start painting with watercolors and acrylics. And that shit just was never really truly for me. The act of creating is what is for me. And I'm just now becoming a painter because
Mm,
I've shot photos. Photos is when the click truly happened. Like, oh, I can make this art. Because something we talk about a lot in the space is for us as Black people born in the 80s and then like after, music videos are our artworks in museums, right? So when I picked up a camera, Hype Williams was the shit. All of his videos were bright, bold, and colorful. And then you had Little X coming through with his bright, bold, and colorful videos as well. And I wanted to know, could I execute an image and edit it to make it look like a still from a music video? Once that click happened, I knew I was doing something right, you know?
yeah.
And from there, ended up collaging for a period of time. I got really deep into printmaking. Like I love operating big ass machines by hand because that's the essence, the soul of printmaking. And now I've just been painting and like working on my like handwriting. So that's why I was like, I don't know what else to do in life outside of art and food, my nigga, because I've
Hold on.
literally been doing it since childhood and I can't even remember what age. That's just the earliest memory of drawing for me.
I feel that I feel that in so many ways. You know, said I feel like I remember the moment that I told my parents, you know, saying that I wanted to get into. I told them music production at first when I knew I
Mhm.
wanted to be in music, but I also knew I wasn't going to be an artist,
Yeah.
and it was at a very young age, and but it's not about me. I think about going back to I remember when me and my wife we went to this museum when we were in Seattle. It was and then they had a it was a culture museum, it was a pop culture museum, but they had this amazing exhibit of hip hop, or just you know saying the hip hop culture. And I know you remember like the iconic picture of the Outcast where Andre 3000 is like this, and
Mhm.
you know Big Boy said, but they had that picture, and then they had all the other pictures that were taken like before that, like a whole bunch of like 19, 20 shots of
Mhm.
pictures that weren't selected for that shot. And it was just like it was amazing to be like am I seeing something that nobody's ever seen? Now granted, of course other people have seen it before, but I felt like I was tapping into a piece of history that
Mhm.
people had never been able to see before. And I feel like when I was scrolling through some of your paintings, and when I interpret paintings, the reason why art kind of gives me such a kind of a hype is because when I look at paintings in my mind, I'm just like, well, I'm the only person that's looking at it. So I feel like I'm experiencing something that is once of a lifetime myself because I'm interpreting myself only what this person is trying to put down on the page. But the thing about your art is that it is I don't know if abstract is not the right word. I'm trying to find the right word. It is
I'm gonna
not
let
the
you work it out.
I'm just gonna say like every time I'll look at a piece of art and then I'll be like, I like that. And I'll look back at it and be like, all right, that is not what I saw the first time, but now I'm seeing something else. And that might because I had to turn my head a different way. And it's like, so it's just I just want you like can you please explain your paintings and what they've been? Because I really don't want to use the word abstract. Not to say abstract is a bad thing by any
Yeah.
means, but I just don't think abstract has enough bounds to really hold your shit.
It's perfect for it actually.
For sure. Okay.
I've talked so much shit about abstract art and abstract paintings that at the end of the day, that is what I'm making. So it's basically a fine line. It's becoming this a process based painting that's somewhere between abstract and street art because I spend so much time in fine art spaces, but I also like, you know how they say some folk are for the streets, but it has a negative connotation associated
Yeah.
with when it comes to like art and where I get my inspiration and ideas from. I literally be in these streets looking at other people's stuff, like and meeting new folk when my social battery is at 100%. You know what I'm saying?
You know Sharice, right?
Yeah.
I feel like y'all are like, if not down two sides of the same coin, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like this a similar sense is like, you know, not to cut you off, excuse me, but she has such a drive about herself as well. But at the same time, I see her influence comes from her surroundings, from her
Mhm.
streets, from her city. So, but yeah, I'm sorry not to go ahead and cut you off, but I
Mhm.
just wanted to add that like I feel 100% what you're saying.
Yeah, but that's literally what it is. Like most times it's music lyrics. I treat my artwork like big ass journal entries, if that makes sense. So I will purposefully write a thought out that no one can read. It'll just either look like calligraphy, like Islamic calligraphy, or it'll look like scribbles. But I'll make sure to make a notation on the back of the painting of like what I was thinking and feeling in that moment. That way I can remember that detail if someone asks me. Now there's some details I don't remember, and people be like, "So what does this say?" I have no idea. You should have been there. Mm-mm. Because I done made the thing and moved on, and now we done some stuff since then, and I just I don't know. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
feel that.
You know, if someone can decipher it, kudos. Hmm. You
I
did a
feel
great
that. I mean, you do amazing shit, you know, so you're not gonna remember everything. I mean, that's how I feel about when I do most of my podcasts. I
job.
don't remember what happened until I re-listen to it, and I'll be
Mhm.
like, "Damn, why'd you say that?" Or "What
You know,
happened?"
funny enough, I got my start with photography via hip hop. You know that, right?
N- Tell me more about it. Not for sure.
Yeah. So I went to North Carolina Central University, and I worked for our school newspaper, and I took someone's job because their careers were lighting up and they were also moving away from the university as well. Um, and in that, I got to know Little Brother and the whole entire Justice League, that entire movement. Like, Little Brother definitely gave the state of North Carolina, in terms of hip hop, our identity in a sense,
100%.
because they felt like they were the little brothers of hip hop, like the golden era of hip hop, which is why J. Cole's response is that he's the middle child of hip hop because he's looking at the golden era while looking at the new kids coming up, making money, making bank, and
Yep.
he feels like a middle child, right?
Little Brothers Live my favorite, one of my favorite
Mhm.
groups. Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Funny as it's told. Someone's going to tell a completely different story, and I don't give a shit. But the album cover for the Minstrel Show is my photo. I'm gonna let that click. That's how much I was shooting those guys at that time. Their first earliest images that just didn't look like cookie cutter type shits on OK Player when it was just a big ass message board. Those were all of my photos. I had the ability, no, I got invited to Dave Chappelle's block party, but shit, I'm in school and fucking broke as hell. There's no way I can get my ass up to Brooklyn, New York from North Carolina. And I'm not going to depend on anyone to take me. Like, I'm going to do that for myself and be the fuck out. So it's like little things like that led me to Atlanta, where I built another underground art scene with City of Ink, which is a celebrity tattoo shop, a black celebrity tattoo shop. And I taught those guys down there, like, the ins and out of art, like why we go to galleries, you know what I'm saying? Why we
Mhm.
price higher than what we think it should be. You need to claim your value, right? And when it comes to your artwork, because you know how to claim your value when it comes to a tattoo. You're not just going to do it a big ass tattoo for $50. Bless you.
Yeah,
So then I came back home to Charlotte, right? Because, kid teaching all of the things.
for
And
sure.
once I took a look around at what was going on here, I was like, I'm going to tell all these motherfuckers that I'm a villain. You don't collaborate. You don't work together. You want to stay in your little silos and complain about every goddamn thing. And you want to fake hate on people. I am going to demolish this entire playing field because my child is an artist. And if we're going to compete, we're all going to compete on the same grounds together.
Man, God, I mean, you. Let me just say something. You said a whole lot,
I know.
but I'm gonna start from the very beginning and just say I don't give a fuck about anybody else's story. This is your story. So fuck what anybody else got to say. Real shit, I ain't interested in it. This is your story, and that's an amazing motherfucking story to tell.
I got a lot
And
of really cool stories. Some of them wild, some of them mundane.
for sure, I mean, I feel like we all do, and I feel like this is why these opportunities and these situations, these conversations are so important because not everybody has the opportunity just to talk to people about the things that they're going on and things that they have been doing and things that they have influenced and things that people have been seeing that they might not realize are actually reaching out to as far as they are. And kind of going backwards, reeling back just a little bit, I actually want to talk about when you sat on the panel for it was an exhibit called Trifecta.
Hmm.
So I want to talk about that. So tell me like how that was sitting on that panel and kind of explaining a little bit more about what actually Trifecta was. 'Cause it was on I think it was on May 6th. So it was like maybe about a month ago, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's the latest exhibition I've opened in collaboration with Davita Galloway and Ohavia Phillips. And it truly did start over tacos because the conversation at the time was the overturning of Roe versus Wade. It amazes me that some folk out there do not think of women as equal of a human as a man. Um, so to make a decision like that, people in their highest power commit to making that level of a decision is amazing. It floors me. And I don't say those things respectfully. Um, it's one of the worst ideas ever.
Yeah.
That just pause. So we wanted to create something that would be universal to all different types of women and people who identify as women, who identify with feminine energy, and really look at three different characters coming together to create space for women to solely emote, because we're still in a sense of that collective mourning.
Mhm.
How can I create something beautiful? How can I celebrate the fact that I am a woman? That whole identity concept even changed for me when I had my child, as if didn't think that I was a girl before, but it's just after I had him, it's just like, yo, I'm really a woman, yo. Like, yo, I had a baby with no drugs, nigga. Like that shit was crazy, bro. I don't want to do this again. I given you one out there in life, but I don't want to do this again. And now I have to redefine my identity, because simply because the word mother has been attached to me and it will be attached to me until the end of days. How can we create a space for women, no matter who you are, to be celebrated? You know? So there are going to be some peaceful aspects of celebration. There's going to be some, you know, not very happy aspects. That's where I come through because I like dark things. How can we create a meditative space? How can we celebrate triumphs and tragedies that women have experienced? Like, all of these things are a part of the conversation. There's
Yeah.
so many women in history that have not been honored, yet have made as equal improvements and innovations as men have, that
Mhm.
that needs to be talked about as well. And we're getting to a space where, based on how we're raising our children and young adults, we're getting to a space where a lot of these kids are beginning to honor it. But at the same time, you also have podcasts that are ripping with toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. So I don't
Talk.
want no parts of that. Like, all of you sound fucking stupid, and I would love to say that. But then there are kids out here that are like, they're like, no, we have to talk about these things. We have to say that this woman existed. Sometimes I know with my middle school kids, they just need to see that a character like me exists in the world so they can
Mhm.
become their own character in this massive story we call the human experience. I'm invested in that. I'm not invested in separating because, oh, you're a black man. Okay, well, good for you. You want me to give you an award or something? Because all I know is that I got to go to work. And I know that you got to go to work. So we're going to be tired at the end of the day. And one of us need to figure out what we eating for dinner, because I'm operating off of a bag of goddamn chips and 2 Oreo cookies. And I don't fucking know. And that to me is all a part of the human experience. Like Cat Williams said that shit. He was just like, nobody needs to be at the gas station late at night making serious life decisions like, did I eat today?
That's a fact. That's a whole fact.
Yeah, like,
Goddamn. Like
I don't have
niggas be
time for
forgetting.
that shit. I can
Hey,
only celebrate what needs to be celebrated. Other than that, I need to figure out what I'm gonna eat.
I feel that though. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? You can't get no consolation prizes just for
Just
getting
because
up
you
and doing the same
exist.
shit that you was gonna do any other day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I 100% feel that shit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta bring that shit to the
Yeah,
table.
this motherfucker's out here going through it. Like, bitch, you want me to celebrate you just because you cute? Hell fucking no.
Oh shit, I can't even fucking deal
Motherfuckers
with
be around
it.
here. You want me to celebrate you because you a baddie. Get the fuck out of my face. I ain't got time for this shit.
So talking about a motherfucking celebration, tell me about what's coming up with you next. What can people what can we expect to see from you next? Like what are some of your next exhibits? And
Oh my God. Where do you
yeah,
want to start? Jesus. I
shit,
feel like
list it
I
out. We got time.
do we? I mean, that you just asked me to unpack the rest of my year to you. So what you like?
This is
Would you
your
like summer?
time.
Would you like fall? Would you like winter?
Man, I
Are
will
you
edit this video and drop those dates into every time that you say it. I'm not even playing. This is your time. Go hard.
All right. So first up is social status for Juneteenth. Social status came to me. They wanted to do a Juneteenth exhibition in celebrating Blackness. So I came up with the theme, Say It Loud. So that'll be June 16th. Then Durag Fest has an art activation and art exhibition. That's June 24th.
Yeah, do Rag Fest one, yeah, baby.
Um, the Ballad of Bella Noche's Dammit Wesley's Emerging Artist Show in the Elder Gallery space. That's July, like later in July. August is the Gantz second biennial that I'm curating by myself, and that one is my presence is present. I like it took me forever to came up with that title, so I really like that shit.
I like
So
that. I fuck
yeah,
with that.
right. My presence is present, right? So that's gonna be about 2021 artists in and around the Carolinas, and I stacked it out to where it goes from local artists who I believe should be in the game, even if they don't want to be in the game, to people I've gone to school with or people I've met along the way that have been represented in Charlotte. It might not be a space you've ever walked across, but some of these folk can't even put like their works in progress on the internet because the painting will be bought and sold
Yeah.
before the world could see it. Like that kind of established Black contemporary artist. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Um, October is Talking Walls. I've restructured that organization and I canceled it last year. So I'm bringing it back this year because people have said yes. They were sad to miss it last year, which is why I made that chess move. Um, the $100 art fair in December. Then, if people just want to like kick it in between all of that, I'm running a series of art battles at Hot Fly in South End every fourth Friday from between June and September, leading up to the Talking Walls Street Art Festival. That's why I was like, where do you want to start? Because
God damn.
my year is done for. Next availability is January 2024.
Hey, but that's a blessing. That's a motherfucking blessing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's beautiful. You know, when I don't have anything on my schedule looking forward, I'd be depressed as much. I'd be like, I need to schedule some interview. I need to get something going on. But to be able to be like, boom, 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 like so much to the point where you might even forgot something. That's great because it's on there. That means you're doing the right thing. You really out there doing your thing. And like I said, I wanted to bring you onto the show because I was starting to realize just through different connections. I was like, damn, like I'm seeing her everywhere. Like you were just everywhere, you know what I'm saying? Between, Skinny J, Cuzzo Key to Kobe, Marlo, all these different connections. And I've
I
had
love
the
those guys. They're so fantastic.
you know what I'm saying? I've had the opportunity to have all those on the show. So I wanted to make sure that I bring you onto the show, give
Mhm.
you your roses for your contributions that you've been making. So many things that I know about you, so many things I had no idea about you.
Mhm.
That you was talking your shit, and I like you came on like the very first words that you said you was gonna come on here and talk your shit, and I appreciate that from what I'm saying from a real place because like that's wild. That's
Mhm.
really wild. And this
Well,
is
you know what home used to look like.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm a Presby baby like you. I
yeah,
just think that through certain travels, when I came back, I wanted the community I built in Atlanta versus going back to Atlanta. So I chose to rebuild that community. And I don't like being up front. I like being in the background because I learned something. Why are music artists like the last nigga to get paid? Everybody in the background get paid first and they get a bigger check. If that's the case, I'm not concerned with being the nigga that has to be the center of attention, doing the most shit. I'm concerned with the background. Like, all right, how can we pull off an exhibition for $30,000? How can we pull off a street art festival at 50, 60, when honestly it's valued at $100,000? And who are the people that cut those big checks to make those things happen? You
mm,
know, I want to find those people because those people are not in the foreground either. I'm sorry that teacher cuts you off to art because what I teach people is why produce a bunch of prints off of a printer where you press Control P of your painting when you could sell a painting essentially one painting for 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. Why shoot yourself in the foot and do all that hard work when I could just get your ass up on the wall, value that what you believe you are worth? I might not be your best friend. I might not come to your house for Sunday dinner every Sunday. But if you are doing what needs to be done, I will boost you the fuck up. Nikki, baby, will you open the door for Jamison? I will boost you up and get you to where you want to be. I think that's fair. I go home, I have to look at myself in the mirror. I value the way I look because I believe in what people can do. It's a tiresome life.
Damn.
Teaching has no thank yous. I don't give a shit about Teacher Appreciation Week. That's the most thankless motherfucker ever. You know, you are a teacher. You are not gonna get a thank you, but someone will remember your ass for a lifetime.
God. Whew. Yeah,
Case in point with that teacher. I
I
feel
don't
like
remember that motherfucking
like you
name.
gave you an assignment. You said it had to be a portrait with a background. You're in the seventh grade. No, you didn't listen to them small little details. You was just like,
You know what
big
I'm saying?
dad, because I'm fucking with this TV show. Background in it. I'm feeling this. I would have been like, this is not what I asked for, but you put so much into it, baby. I'm gonna still give you what you deserve. I'm not
I
gonna
went
pull it.
off on that shit for a good 2 weeks. Every day in the class, I was adding a little something extra. Like, I mean, I see it like it's crazy that I still don't have it, but yeah, but I appreciate you saying that. You know what I'm saying? Because I really held a lot of shit against. I feel like I'm having a therapy session because I held a lot of shit against that motherfucker for a long time.
Mhm.
So yeah,
It's always
that's
somebody who
crazy.
turns somebody off. When in reality, yes, there are rules to art, but shit, just make a motherfucker. Like, just make
No,
some shit. It's not gonna be perfect. You still got to practice everything that you do. So through practice, you get better. Done and done.
I feel that. But yeah, with that being said, tell everybody where they can follow you and also where they can buy some of your art.
You can
Let's see
purchase
some of your portraits, all that shit, all that.
some of my works through Elder Gallery of Contemporary Art. Um, you can no longer purchase through me or through any other aspect. That's the only way people can. And I am King Carla everywhere you go on these internet streets.
Easy. Already. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the channel. It's been a pleasure. Like this has been an amazing conversation. I had no idea that I was expecting great things, but I had no idea that it was gonna be where it went. And once again, anytime you welcome on the channel, and definitely next time that I'm back home, it's been way too long. I'll make sure that I tap out. I mean, I reach out and yeah, all that shit.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate you both.
Already. Thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all already. Country Fan Mail Podcast. Clue the down where a fan makes a fan. We out of this motherfucker.